Let's go to Mike and Hayward here on Willie and Dibby. Hi, Mike. What are you doing?
I'm just sitting there listening to you guys talk. I mean, it's only like 11 games in. I can't believe this conversation, right? 11 games, like, really? And why don't we want to know how good they are without Steph? We got to know that, right? So they're professionals. I think they'll probably win the game tonight. They're going to have to come up. They're going to have to step up. Let's see what they look like. This is not going to be the only game Steph Curry's going to miss this season, right? So we got to know. What we got. And so far we know well they ain't doing. Wiggins ain't, but Clay ain't shooting well. Well, Clay just needs to keep on shooting. That's all I can say. And so we got to see what they look like.
Right? Mike, I'm totally with you. Yeah, I'm totally with you. I think that the timing of this, if it was going to happen, this is great. It's only 11 games in. Nothing is going to be won or lost in November. Sure, you thought as of last week, wow, maybe the Warriors are going to stack a bunch of wins and have that in the hip pocket if there is an injury in January. Sure, that was hopeful. Now it's less hopeful. But who knows? Maybe they will start a 5-game win streak tonight. I don't know. So you never love to see him out. I get it if you're a ticket holder for tonight's game. It's a bummer. It's a big-time bummer that Steph's going to miss home games. Yeah. That stinks. That stinks out loud. But if you're going to have an injury that's a key one, have it early. And there's a secondary piece to this tonight and in any subsequent games, which is we're all sitting here having a talk about the Warriors finding more scoring options. Well, now the door's wide open. Auditions start tonight at 7 o'clock. Let's see what you got.
I don't like the options.
That's fine. You don't have, but we got to see it.
4 players averaging in double digits. Forget guys averaging 20. You got one guy averaging 30. You got Clay at 16, Kuminga at 12, Wiggins at 10.5. End of list.
Not good.
And Chris Paul's at 9.9, and actually Draymond's at 9.9. Sorry, then Chris Paul's 8.2, Dario 8.1, 6.8, 6.4, 5.8, 5.0. Offensively, you don't have a second scorer. So now you lose your primary scorer, and who are you expecting to step up tonight?
But how many times have we done? We used to do this on load management night. It's like, oh my gosh, the Warriors are now going to be
But you had Jordan Poole,
11.5-point dog, and they would go out and win some of those games. Everybody tonight is now asked to perform a different role.
Sure.
So let's see it. Let's see it, because you're right. You're giving us what the Warriors have not had to this point. And we can all agree they're going to need to have it. And if you all agree that the answer is not outside the building, well, then you better find it inside.
Right.
So let's do this. 7 o'clock. Let's see it. Who wants to step forward and be the dude tonight? I love this. I can't wait to find out what this is going to look like.
Well, I mean, I'm excited because it's a Warrior game, but I look at what they're averaging in terms of offense, and they're averaging 114 a night. So you take out Steph's 30.7, and you need 114 points tonight. That's what you've averaged, and that's been good enough to win 6 of 11 games. So where do the points come from? Can Clay get you 25? Can Kuminga get you 20? Can Andrew Wiggins get you 10.6, which would be more than his 10.5? I just look at the names on the roster and what they've been this year, what they've provided, and Chris Paul has been great in terms of passing and not turning it over, but offensively, he's shooting 37% from the floor, 16% from 3.
But let's see tonight.
My God.
But let's see tonight. Any one of these
dudes. Of course,
dudes,
let's see tonight, but what do you think?
What do I think? I think Chris Paul looks exactly like I thought he would look.
No, but what do you think in terms of the whole team tonight? Like, if they're going to go out and get 114 points, is it a Claymaker game? Is it Draymond who finds his way?
Vegas says they only need 107, by the way.
What's the over-under?
The over-under for them or for the game?
The team.
The team is 106.5.
And for the game, it's like
215.5.
Oh, so they're
Minnesota's a 3-point favorite.
3-point favorite.
Yeah, they've gone up to 3.
So 109.5.
109.5 to 106.5. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So you need 107. Not
or if you want to win the game. Yeah. I mean, again, you want to hold. Play good defense. Play good defense. Have this be a lower scoring game. But yes, do I think the Warriors are going to go north of 100 tonight? I do. So even without that 30, other people are going to have to score. Let's see what it looks like. I mean, honestly, I look at this so glass half full because what we're all sitting, Steph will average 30, and we all agree that over the last 3 games especially, not good enough. The team's not good enough. All right. So what do they need? Well, they need better other options. Perfect. Let's see them. So what has to happen tonight has to happen for the season anyway. So that's why I look at this as an opportunity. Now, I will completely create a qualifier in this conversation if Steph is going to miss 3 weeks or 4 weeks. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where this is going. So I'm not saying that. But if you had told me, and actually this is sort of what I thought when it was still during our show yesterday when he got named and announced as questionable. I'm like, okay, more I thought about it, wouldn't be that terrible of a thing. Sit him. I tweeted it this morning. I said, you know what? I really hope he sits tonight. I hope he sits tonight because, A, there's no reason to push him physically right now on a Tuesday in November. And B, I am interested to see what these other, air quotes, scorers look like without him on the floor. Someone needs to step forward even when he is on the floor. So now they're going to be forced into that role. Let's see who does well with it.
Right.
I'm very interested to see what this looks like.
And I love the notion of scorers because they only have one guy who is a scorer outside of Steph, and he's not playing great. He's had a few bad games in a row, and that's Klay Thompson.
Historically,
Draymond Green's not a
scorer. In his career, he's a scorer.
Like, how far back do you want to go?
No, every year. What's his worst year been in terms of scoring? I bet it's probably 17 or 18 a game. It would be my bet. I'm not saying he's a great scorer, but he's a scorer.
17 last year.
Yeah.
17. He's at 10.5.
Yeah. I know he's having a terrible year.
11 games in.
His worst season.
He's at 10.5.
As a rookie was 16.9 points per game. That's a scorer.
Right.
He's a scorer.
You have to shoot to score.
Right.
And if you look at his shots.
He looks awful.
But he's not even shooting. It's one thing to look off.
He will tonight.
Like Klay.
That's my point.
Will he?
I hope.
Well, you hope. And that's the whole point about Andrew Wiggins. And you look at his career, and you're right. He's been dead consistent. He's been between 43.7 and 47.7% from the floor. He's been between 13.9 shots and 18.8 shots. He's a guy who's going to shoot between 14 and 19 times a game. And yet this year, he's shooting the ball 10 times a game, and he's shooting 41% from the floor. That, to me, is the most galling part of this whole 6-5 start to the year. Steph has been Steph. Klay's been up and down. Draymond actually scoring a little bit more. Chris Paul couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat in the middle of the Indian Ocean.
He's old.
It doesn't matter. He's not this bad of an offensive player. The biggest issue is Andrew Wiggins.
Agreed.
It's not that he's not scoring. He's not trying to score. He shoots the ball 10 times a game. He's never shot the ball fewer than 14 times a game, yet he's shooting it 10 times a game.
Yep.
Why?
I don't know. Well, actually, I do know partially. He's also playing way fewer minutes. And the reason he's playing way fewer minutes is because a lot of his shots aren't going in.
Well, it's because he's not playing with any real effort, any force.
It can look that way. I know where we're coming from on the Andrew Wiggins conversation, and you're not wrong. He has well earned the reputation for being a floater, somebody who coasts. I get that. He doesn't have that dog in him. That's fine. But I also think too often in sports, we jump to the he's not trying and he doesn't care card because certain dudes just have that look on their face. And it doesn't mean they don't try. Cody Bellinger looks like he's high all the time, but he played at an MVP type level last year.
Right.
So you can look like, and you can still play well.
Look how you want to look.
And Wiggins has in his past at times. We've seen it. It's rare, but we've seen it. So I think he looks like he cares, and just when the ball goes in more, not like because he's got some sort of maniacal look or way about him. I think he'll shoot more tonight. Oof. I think he'll get more minutes. Largely, in fact, if you look at just the percentages of the Warriors' quote-unquote scorers, people who have scored in their career Clay, Andrew, Chris Paul, their percentages from 2 are the same. It's just their three-point shot. The Warriors' three-point shooting this year outside of Steph and then role players like Moody has been disgusting.
Andrew's not shooting the 3. He's shooting 2.4 a game.
Right, and he's
down
making
from
less
last
than
year's 6.1 a game.
Right, because he is playing fewer minutes and his confidence is shot.
Right, 11 games in.
But all it takes is a few to go in, as you know. Shoot or shoot.
Well, you have to shoot for it to go in.
Yes.
And that's where
what I
look at Andrew Wiggins. Well, I think it's deeper than just Steph's not playing, go get him, Andrew. Something's wrong with Andrew Wiggins in terms of how he feels about his role in this team or his role as an NBA player. Something is not right.
Okay,
he's not playing the way he's been so consistent, Mark, as a Warrior. And this is now his 5th year. And you look at all 4 of the previous years, and I've given him a hard time for being K-Wig and being, 5 of 14 and 6 of 13, whatever. This year, he's not even getting to those levels of mediocrity.
No doubt.
He's not even showing a desire to try to score the basketball.
I think that's a leap to put thoughts in his head, though.
I'm not putting any thoughts in his head.
Well, you said something.
I'm looking at his game,
But you said
and I'm saying when I watch the Warriors play, a lot of times I have to actually look for him and go, oh, my God, he's actually playing basketball.
You can fully say something is wrong, but when you take the leap to his role on the team or with this, I don't know. I can't tell you you're wrong, but there's no way to know that that's what's going on, and I'm not comfortable acting like we know that Andrew's unhappy. I don't know if he's unhappy.
Idea.
It's 11 games.
Right.
So he doesn't look right.
That's not a small sample.
It's not a large one either.
It's enough of a sample to where you can look at what he's done and say, this is not the Andrew Wiggins. This is a third of the games he played last year.
But we relearn this lesson every year. We did this for 2 months with Klay Thompson last year. And then he was the player of the month in the league.
And then he was terrible
And
again.
then he was bad again.
Yeah.
Right. But 11 games does not a season make.
Of course not.
Let's see what happens. And that's why I find the Steph injury to be a little bit intriguing, because you are now going to call on other Warriors to be more aggressive and take a larger role and more shots. I can't wait to find out, him in particular, what he does with this tonight. I would imagine there's going to be more minutes. I would imagine there's going to be more shots. One of these nights, they're going to take the lid off that rim, and he's going to get going again. I believe that. I could be wrong. And if he does this for a full season, well, now we have a completely different conversation, because now you got one of the most overpaid players in the league.
4 of 26 from 3.
Yeah.
4 of 26.
He's freaking cold.
It's beyond cold.
Maybe.
That's beyond cold. That's permafrost. That's some serious Arctic thunder right there.
It
4 of 26?
It's terribly cold. It's terribly cold. But through 11 games, I'm not ready to brand him now as that player.
Branding him.
Well, it sounds like it.
No, you look at what he's done, and he's only taken 2 and change threes a game.
He's been bad.
He's been terrible, but he's been reluctant to shoot as well. So that's where I think about looking at a player.
But that's chicken or the egg.
It's not.
Of course it is.
Shoot the ball.
No, because they're not going in.
Has Klay Thompson shied away from shooting when he struggled?
And he gets torched for doing that.
But he gets also applauded because a shooter shoots.
No.
And Andrew Wiggins is playing basketball, and he shot 26 threes in 11 games.
We left here last year torching Klay for a whole offseason because when it wasn't falling, he wouldn't stop shooting. Now you're asking Andrew to keep shooting when they're not falling.
I'm asking Andrew to play with some aggressiveness and play with some force, which is what his own coach has recommended that he needs to do.
That's different.
And also his own coach is not playing him in the end of games, and it's not because he's not shooting the ball. It's because he's not playing well on either end of the floor.
He played at the end of the Denver game, and he played really well.
Right,
good fourth quarter. I know. I'm just saying we got to pick a side. We can't say if you're cold, keep shooting, and then when you do, we rip you for being a gunner. Like Andrew Wiggins.
I would love to rip him for being a gunner.
I have no doubt that Andrew has shot fewer times for 2 reasons. 1, he's not playing as many minutes. 2, they're not going in. So he's not going to force that up when you've got the Splash Brothers next to you, are you going to keep firing away your three-pointer when you're shooting 15%? That would be horrible. Don't do that. Try to affect the game in a different way. That would be my criticism of him. When your shot's not falling, be a maniac on the boards. Be a crazy defender. That's how you stay on the floor when your shot's not going in. Who was that cap for OKC a couple years ago? Roberson? That dude couldn't throw the ball in an ocean, but he stayed out there because he was a defender and he played hard. So that's what I hope to see from Andrew tonight. The shot, I got no choice but to think that that's going to come. He's played for a decade in the league and averaged 17 points a game or more. I got to think that that's coming at some point.